Hey everybody, it's Roy Richardson, your friendly neighborhood tech turtle maker, and tonight I got a great guest, and we're going to talk about planning. Do you plan your live streams? Stick around to the end. I'm going to do an amazing demo to kind of really show you how to organize things. But tonight, it's my pleasure to have my guest Florence from Equip Institute. How you doing tonight?
I am doing fantastic. I'm excited about this topic. I
This is
can't
going to be
wait
a
to
lot of,
dig in with you.
yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. And, it's that saying that, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I've
hmm
seen a lot of content creators, they just fly by the seat of their pants. I am guilty of it myself. I try to get organized, but sometimes I just wing it, and things happen when you wing it sometimes. And sometimes it's okay, but sometimes not. So it really is good to plan. So we're going
Yes.
to jump right into
Okay.
our content. And so let's get started, and we'll start sharing. And so here we go. No peeking, everybody. Okay, now I'll show you that later. All right, so planning. So here's some tools that can help you plan. I have personally used Google Sheets. You could use Excel if you're an Excel fan. I'm a big fan of Notion. Workflowy and Asana are okay. I haven't really created templates for those. What you mentioned, your big fun thing is Evernote. Is that really what you use
I
for?
I do. I use Evernote as my primary content planning tool. I mix it a little bit with Google Sheets and Google Docs, primarily when I'm collaborating with someone. But when it's just me and my team, we use Evernote.
Okay, and hang on, because I always forget. I gotta drop the sound down on my sound. It's just too loud. So here we go. All right, back to presenting. I used Evernote for a long time, and I'm not anti Evernote, but I don't like paying for stuff. I like free. So, all right,
Yeah,
and
I get it.
another cool thing are script writing tools, whether you use Google Docs or Microsoft Word or Evernote or just text documents like Notepad++ to do just like you would do in Notepad. Or if you're really serious about script writing, I've used Scrivener for a while to do script writing. I haven't really used it for content creation, but if you're big on script writing, then Scrivener is pretty amazing.
There's another one I'm going to share with you.
Oh, please.
Tech is Ulysses. If you like Scrivener, but
Yeah.
you don't want quite as much detail,
Yeah.
Ulysses is a good one. It does well if you like Markdown and text files and things, because you can move the files back and forth pretty easily.
Yep. No, I have. Is that the one that also kind of hides your screen for you too when you're doing scripting? It has an option to hide
Yes,
your screen.
yeah, it does, and it does a good job, like Scrivener, of outputting that content into different formats, an ebook, Word,
Yep.
or any number of others. So it allows you to write in an environment that you're not distracted by all the stuff that Word gives you, and even Google Docs. But then you can output it in so many formats that you really got a lot of flexibility with it.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Store somewhere safe. So whatever your media that you collect, your scripts that you might write, store it somewhere safe, whether it's Google Drive or OneDrive or an external hard drive. I've heard so many horror stories about people's computers crashing and they lost everything. So you definitely want to back it up to something that's not stored on your computer. It's okay to have two copies, one on the computer and one somewhere else. What is your backup strategy? How do you keep all your stuff safe?
I have a combination. I use Google Drive for some things, and I use iCloud for other things. And then I put really, really important things on an external terabyte hard drive,
Cool.
so that if amongst those three, I've been fortunate I've not lost anything.
Yeah, that's good. I'm paranoid. I have photos backed up in 3 different cloud platforms. So
Yeah. I toyed with using something like Backblades at one point, but I was like, I got all these external hard drives around here and
Yeah.
cloud storage available. I can write a script that kicks off every night. So I personally, for me, I will just say this: if you don't have that background and you want to be sure that your data is being backed up, using something like a Backblaze can work and it's effective. It's just I didn't find a need for it personally, just because
Yeah.
of my background, and I can write a quick script and be done with it.
That's true. Yep. All right. And then planning. So here's the key thing. You need to pick a platform. You absolutely cannot develop something for every platform and be efficient and successful at it. You just can't. You have to pick out what your primary is, and maybe you can have a secondary, but you've got to have one that's your primary focus. So for me, while I use these other platforms, YouTube is the primary focus for me because, well, for one, I like it the best. I started with it first, and it's been really good to me. Very, very good to me. So,
Well, as you know, my platform is YouTube as well. And it was interesting. You say that I saw someone today on Social Media Examiner being interviewed, someone I've known for years and years and years. And it was really just kind of weird to see someone you've known in real life for a long time, just in that environment. So you just never know.
Yeah.
But definitely pick one. It's kind of, I liken it to what we talked about when you pick your tools. You pick your planning tool, you pick your scripting tool. Pick one and get to know it. Get to know it really, really well. And
yeah,
pull everything out of it that you can pull out for what you want to accomplish. It's not that you can't have others. It's just that make something, if you will, your home where you're going to land and send people back to, and that you trust to accomplish your goals.
yeah, definitely agree with that. One thing, one thing I find is that people will buy gear, for example, or software, and they won't learn how to use it. So that was an investment they made, and they're not getting the full value out of it because they didn't take the time to learn the tools that they're using. And so it's just vital to, if it definitely made sense to you, whatever research you put in to find those tools, to really push hard and get everything out of it. So
Yeah. Um, Whether you use Windows or Mac, there are tools that come with those platforms naturally, that if you learn to use them, they are just as effective. I was talking with someone over the weekend, and this adage is very true. A camera, no matter how expensive, in the wrong hands won't take fabulous pictures. But an inexpensive camera in the hands of someone who truly knows what they're doing will take a fabulous picture. So I often tell people it's not the tool that makes the difference. It's learning to use it to be effective. And that I believe wholeheartedly with content creation. You can have a simple setup. In fact, we know people who teach you to use a simple setup to get your message out and get really good at it, really learn it, because it takes time to learn it, right?
yeah,
Every day there's an opportunity to learn something new. So
definitely.
I definitely agree with you.
Let's take a look, see who all's out there tonight. We got a few people, of course. Florence saying hi to everybody. Thanks for hanging out with me, by the way.
I'm loving it.
Hey, how you doing out there tonight? And Joshua, welcome. Great evening, everyone. Frank Jackson, how you doing, sir? Welcome. What do these things do? Oh, well, we can talk about it. We'll get into that. Ooh, okay, script writing. So only you can see it while you're live, and the audience can't see it. That's true. We'll talk about it here in a minute. I'm going to go really deep into planning here in just a minute, and then I'm going to show you a cool demo that shows you what my planning process is. And then Florence is going to correct me when I make all my mistakes, because she is way more organized and much better at project planning and planning than I am. I like to fly by the seat of my pants, so it's just kind of
We won't be doing that tonight. We won't be flying by seats of anything.
And Wit says listening for a bit. Roy involved in a hockey broadcast right now between periods, and we have audio issues. Yeah, focus on the hockey. That's your
Please.
pride and joy. So definitely don't want to mess you up there. Hey, tall boy, how you doing, sir? Welcome. Big facts on the camera analogy. Yep. Hello all. Grilling 615. Hey, welcome. I don't know if you've been here before, but either way, welcome. Has everyone remembered to hit that like button? Yes, if you're out there, hit that like button. Hey, tall boy, good to see a friendly face. Yeah, Roy's showing us secrets. Say what? If I know it, I share it because I figure, it's very much, I can't keep all this to myself. If I know something, if I've learned something, I get a thrill out of sharing with others. So that's where I'm at. So let's go back to our project planning here. Let's see here. All right. So here we're going to talk about 10 ideas, 10 things for great project planning, planning your content creation. So idea generation, script writing, pre-production, production, post-production, repurposing, optimization, promotion, analytics, rinse and repeat. So let's look at each one. All right, so collect ideas somewhere. So whatever note-taking app you like, collect ideas. Florence's, your big one is Evernote, and mine is...
My big one is Evernote. It is, but I do use other things. Evernote happens to be where it all lands. I use, believe it or not, my first place where I put any kind of text is in drafts, whether it's on the computer, on my phone, on my tablet, because I'm an Apple ecosystem, even on a Windows computer, because Drafts has a web app. I will often, even it sounds a little nutty, but I will do this. If I have to send a text message to someone, I will put it in drafts first and look at it and do some editing on it and then send it out. It's quick, it works. There's a free version and it works really, really well. And then I can move that text to wherever I want to move it to, whether it's Word or Google Docs or Google Keep or pretty much anywhere I want to move it to. So use it. If you're not a thumb typist, audio, capturing those ideas in audio work really well, taking a picture, but put them all in what I call an idea bank somewhere where they all live, and you can go through them at a different times to decide what to use.
Yeah, good
or
stuff.
What to put out.
Yeah, and I'm a Google Keep fan. But I also use Notepad++ on Windows to store notes because it does such a good job of saving each one of the files. So if I forget to save, it's still there next time I come in, and I get notes that way. And then I'll add them to whatever, Word, Google Docs. I like Google Docs because I can access it on any device. But good stuff. And then on Mac, I use a program called Textastic that unfortunately costs money, but it's the closest to Notepad++ I've found for Mac OS. So, all right, a script. So you may want to write a script so you have planned your words out ahead of time. So if you are an awkward human being like I am, it helps to write stuff down, at least bullet points. Just write down bullet points. That's what I do. I do bullet points. I don't do word for word because I like to just free form and spontaneity. And you may even consider investing in a teleprompter or just a teleprompter app. So I have an app called, I think it's called Teleprompter Pro on my iPad, and it actually is voice activated. So if I turn it on, it will, as I talk, it will run through my script that I've written, if I've written a script. Again, I don't do that very often, but if I've got something that's very detailed, then you may want to do a teleprompter so that you don't miss any details. What are your thoughts? What's your process when you do you script or just bullet points?
So I do bullet points, outline and bullet points. I do a lot of public speaking, and I used to write out a script word for word and practice and practice and practice. And over time I learned that wasn't my flow. It just wasn't my jam. But writing out bullet points, what the keys are, and I do things like bold and use color coding to make things stand out. I'll color code a word just so I know, emphasize that. That keeps me on track. And then I know my topics well enough that I don't need to read a script word for word. And it really, as a content creator, it's about finding what flows for you. If you're the type of, everyone is different. Some people can, like, I can't print mine out. I tried that. I was like, not a good. I lost track of where I was on the paper. So just finding for yourself what your flow is when it comes to writing, but then how you're going to deliver those words, what makes sense to your brain.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And now pre-production. So, have you picked a topic? Do you have a guest? If you're going to have a guest, is this live, recorded video, or a short or a reel? Do you need doing promotion ahead of time? And I totally misspelled ahead of time. I don't know what that was all about. Please forgive my spelling.
Oh, ahead of time.
Ahead of time. This is a new word. I just invented it.
It's a new word.
It'll be in Merriam-Webster next year. Everybody use that hashtag ahead of time.
Ahead of time.
So
I want to throw something else out there.
Please.
When you say pick your topic, before you even decide if you're going to have a guest, I've learned this in a number of venues. Decide what type of information you're giving and decide what your vision is for it. Once you've picked your topic, or maybe you're going to do a series, decide what you want your audience to walk away with for yourself. Decide, are you informing, educating, entertaining, whatever combination of that? And then once you know those kind of foundational pieces, what's my vision? What do I see? What do I want to have come out of this? What do I want to deliver to people? You can start digging into the other details. Because you go in, if you ask a guest, and you can tell your guests, my vision for this event or this live stream or this video is, and give them a clear picture of what you expect. And that helps them prepare.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. All right. And then pre-production. So have you made your thumbnails or whatever graphic you may be using? If you're on Instagram or TikTok, whatever you may be, title, not really so much a thing for Instagram, but description, what tags or hashtags. Now on Instagram, they're big on kind of categories you go in now. So hashtags are on the way out from Instagram. It's more categories. They're using that more. Hashtags are not gone, but just be aware on Instagram that they're going out. So do you post anything on Instagram? Do you have an Instagram?
I have an Instagram account, and I have not posted anything on Instagram.
Okay.
I primarily post on Twitter and LinkedIn, and I've been using the YouTube community tab a bit. But those are my three.
Yeah.
If you've ever heard me before, you are here. I'm not into Facebook. It's not for me. And I will at some point get into LinkedIn, but it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Pick your platforms and get good at them, rather than spreading yourself so thin that you're doing a little bit here and a little bit there and a little bit someplace else, and you're not really good at any of it. Get good in one, maybe two places, and build your community, your audience in those places where it makes sense for you. If TikTok makes sense for you, go for it. If Instagram makes sense for the audience you want to reach, go for it. And then you can start to play with the different graphics and things like that. But no, I'm a strong believer in knowing what it is you want to deliver. Know what your message is, because everything else is window dressing.
That's true. I use Canva for my thumbnails, and it's really easy to resize for Twitter and for Instagram, and for the community tab on Google. So I mean on YouTube. So it's really convenient for me to go ahead as soon as I make the thumbnail and I'm happy with it, to resize it down and then use it for those other platforms. So there's my tip for anybody. And then it's showtime. It's production time. You are filming and recording your video. You're making sure to pay attention to lighting and audio and composition. And then post-production. Live is live, so you're already posted. So the cool thing about live for me is that it doesn't require any editing. I can just go right out there with it. Well, sometimes I'll make a mistake live and I'll post like my address or something, or my email address. I'll have to go and go back and edit it inside the little trim feature inside YouTube Studio. So I mean, do you kind of have a process on your post-production, the stuff that you do?
I do. I have a very defined process that I follow, and that is, my first thing is I want to get my YouTube chapters in to the video. My second is, now I'm focusing, once that's done, making sure I tighten up the title of the video. If it didn't quite hit the mark, I'll go back and tighten that up.
Yeah.
I will go back and tighten up the description for the same purpose. The description I wrote was what I intended. Once I go back and look at that video, whether it's a short or live stream or whatever it is, then I have an opportunity to edit that text, make it cleaner, more specific, and have it available. And then I'm now taking the video and starting to make shorts out of it. So that I think we're going to talk about repurposing, at least I hope we are. But that's my primary way of repurposing right now, is to take my videos and make shorts from them and get those out to us. So hopefully that's helpful to someone. Tech, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask folk, if you have questions, please put questions in, but it would be helpful to Tech Troublemaker if you put a Q colon in front of it to help him sort and find those questions.
Yes,
I'm sure.
We'll definitely hit questions here in a minute. So yeah, definitely.
We definitely want to help you with answering your questions, because that's the whole reason he's doing this. He's an educator, a fun educator with a koi pond behind me right now.
I know, it's fun. So, yeah, and then you need to edit your footage by selecting the best footage and adding music and effects and transitions. Use B-roll. Great audio is key. People will watch a bad video if your audio is good. Just be aware of that. And then cut the fluff. You absolutely need to get rid of anything. Just get rid of it. The sad part is if it's something that you really, really like, sadly, you probably should cut it. I hate that. I hate that advice, but I've seen it. It's like, oh man, I really think that's amazing. Okay, I'm gonna cut that, and then I was happy that I did, because I thought the video did much better that way. So, what kind of post-production tips do you have over and above that?
My post-production tip has to do with, particularly if you're live streaming, go into the live stream in your planning process. Decide where you're going to use the content in shorts or any other format, so that you make breaks in a place that's logical. Plan that in, decide, and mark in your script or your outline or your bullet points, so that if you need 30 seconds, they're strong, they're not fluffy. Do the fluff after the 30 seconds. If you want to have a good demonstration, have it nailed down so that you can pull it out and use it in a different place to repurpose it. So that post-production starts in pre-production.
Cool. All right, repurpose. So use your content for shorts, reels, B-roll, other platforms. It's just like on Bob the Builder, renew, reuse, recycle.
Yeah. One thing that I was listening to another content creator, and in the Huddle community, so someone we know, and he talked about, he takes his audio, transcript of his audio and converts that to short postings, captions, or whatever, but also maybe your email newsletter
Yeah.
or a portion of it as a blog entry, whether you're putting a newsletter entry on LinkedIn or you have your own newsletter or whatever. So taking that content and reusing it in a bunch of ways. And what I likened it to when I heard that is we as humans, we need to hear information 7 to 8 times before it really sticks with us. So repurposing is a part of that rehearing and relearning and being exposed to the information multiple times so that it sticks with us. So
Good stuff. Yep. And so I take my live streams, I turn them into a podcast. I can take the captions and turn them into a blog entry. Just so many things. Next up, optimize. So you need to optimize your content for search engines. So search engine optimization, SEO. Check your titles, make sure they still make sense for what you wind up with as a final product. Check your description, check your thumbnails. If you have a cool tool like TubeBuddy, like the Legend, you can do A/B testing with different thumbnails and see which one's more popular. So there's been a couple times I did thumbnail testing and found out, oh, this thumbnail did way better, so I will go back and change my thumbnail to be that one. You can do the same thing with descriptions and that type of thing. So, but you should do some testing and kind of see what works out. Even if you don't have cool tools, you can do A/B testing manually by yourself. Just change out the thumbnail. I've actually taken the thumbnail from older videos and updated it, and that video got new life. I changed the title and description and the thumbnails, and suddenly a video that I thought, this is a great video, why didn't a lot of people watch it? And once I revamped the thumbnail and the description and the title, people started watching it, and so it got rediscovered, and I was really happy about that. So kind of what's your search engine optimization kind of stuff that you do?
Sort of the same, but you did something one time and I thought it was genius. And I don't even know if you remember this, but on your YouTube community tab, you posted multiple thumbnails and had your audience vote on them. That's a form of A/B testing.
It is.
So
it is.
You use, again, knowing how to use your tools, there's magic in it. So you get your audience feedback, right? It's a tool that you have access to. You have a YouTube channel. You can put it out there and get your audience to give you feedback. And then you can try something else. You can do polls. Those are other ways to feed into your optimization. Yeah. Another one I learned, it's just doing a plain old everyday Google search.
Yeah.
The Google machine still works.
It does.
Doing a plain old, and there are some other tools, keyword search tools that you can use. And so learning what those are, picking 1 or 2, not 10, 1 or 2, and really learning to use those 1 or 2, whether it's TubeBuddy, vidIQ. There are several others. My brain is not remembering the name. I'm thinking one with keyword in it, and I don't remember exactly the name right now. But find the one or 2 that you want to use, and start to use it. Start to learn. And if you're looking for keywords, I had to learn keywords when I started this journey. Like, I didn't understand what a keyword was. It's just, what are the words that people are looking for when they're looking for information, or they're looking for entertainment, or they're looking for inspiration, or they're looking for motivation? What are the words around a topic they're looking for? Google, YouTube are 2 of the most powerful search engines there that are.
Yeah, let's catch up with our group here and see how we're doing here. Let's see. There's a few people out there. Let's go. Wow,
there are. I'm in awe. Tall Boy is there.
Yep. So glad you do. Okay. Yep. Love that. Broad process. Sensing and no sense in gatekeeping. Yeah. Love that thought process, no sense in gatekeeping. Exactly. Hey, spooling around. How you doing, David? All right. Let's see. Tina Wankanobi.
Hi.
I heard a time. Yes, hashtag I heard a time.
I heard a time.
Let's make that a thing. Okay, I want to do
That's a
that.
whole
So
thing.
it's gonna be for the troublemakers out there for my crew. Yes. Walter Strong in the house.
Hey, Mr. Strong.
I know every time he says take troublemaker, I hear it in my head. I really do need to get you to do me a sound bite for my show. So yeah, good evening with your sister Florence. Yes. Why does my thumbnail picture why does my thumbnail picture that I like come out sideways when I try to put it on my YouTube? Good question. So what's the name of that? So I use Canva. I've used other tools as well. There's a bunch of websites you can use for thumbnails. The key thing is to do 1280 by 720 is the pixels that you need for a YouTube thumbnail. See, Walter says, if I can get it cooperate. Hello there, a great sound advice. Get good at one platform and then build up and blow up on the other. That's right. I think we should be worried about LinkedIn because I see that Mr. Beast is now on LinkedIn. I don't know what that means.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
I just got a feeling. Miss Marie, what are you using for thumbnails?
Right.
Canva. Yeah. Oh yeah. You can use your camera. Yes, you can. Needing this episode. Thanks. Hey, Ken Smith. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm a tall boy. I use Canva for thumbnails, photos for my big view or photo library. Yep. Lisa Maria, I want to see your channel grow. I don't understand why you don't get more views. So I've been meaning to reach out to you. We got to figure that puzzle out. So I have Creo and Vistaprint. I'm not ready. I can't compete with Canva. Yeah, Canva, it's just such a good program. Driving with listening. Hey, thanks, Tina. Can we build it? Yes, we can. Yes, Bob the Builder. It says, where do you find the time to repurpose the content? Immediately after show or within so many hours? So, Florence, I don't know your process, but mine is usually if I have an idea to repurpose the content, for example, I did a short about how you should do shorts. And so I had multiple content creators on my show, and I took a snippet where they talked about how shorts were important for their strategy, and I put all those together into a short and did that. And so, or I may say other stuff. I have not gotten where I do a lot of repurposing yet, but I know I need to, and I'm actually planning on going back to some of the really old videos I've done in the past and kind of take like best of moments and repurpose those. Special videos didn't do well, but I knew there were some amazing moments in the video, and I want to show those as shorts. So, Florence, what kind of repurposing are you doing?
So my repurposing, I first start with immediately. Typically, if I'm doing a when I'm doing a live stream, immediately afterwards, I was strategic, and when I picked the night, I would do my live stream Friday night. And at the time, I knew I would not be too tired. I would be done with my work day. I wouldn't most days have to get up super early on Saturday. So because of the time I picked, I immediately watch the video after the live stream. Like when I finish within 15 minutes, I'm rewatching, and I'm looking to put chapters in. I didn't do one, but I'll go back. So I do my chapters usually on that Friday. Then over the next few days, as I get a few minutes here and there, I'll start working on pulling the content out for shorts. That's my process. I can work in small bits of time. Like I can do a lot in 15 minutes for me because I set my system up, my environment up so that when I'm ready to execute, I just simply have to execute. I don't have to pull anything out. Where I'm sitting now in the studio I am in, I actually have 2 desks in L shape, fully set up all the time, 2 different computers, one on one desk, one on the other desk. So I'm always set and ready to go. That's a key. Content creators typically I don't have a fancy studio. I have a simple studio, and I needed it to be that way. But finding the time has to do with setting up your environment first so that when you're ready to work, you can. You don't have to pull out anything. You don't have to pull out the computer. You don't have to set up a desk. You don't have to do any of that. You can just start working, and so that you're not wasting time. And that's my key. I just have it set and ready to go.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Lisa Maria just went and signed up for Canva, so we're good there. Lisa Maria, I have done some videos on using Canva, and I've also done videos about chapters. So if anybody out there is curious about how to do chapters, I've done a video on a couple of ways of doing chapters. Looks like you have,
Yes, I learned to do chapters from you, Roy.
all
That
right.
was actually how that is really truly how I learned to do chapters. I watched your video.
Well, thank you. That's my goal, is to help people, and especially helping everybody in the community. Anything I can do for you guys, I want to do. But you got a fan here. Let's see. Fishstick says, Florence, I could give you 100 compliments, but allow me to pick two. I like your confidence and knowledgeable. You have a pleasant voice. What mic are you using?
I am using the Samsung Q2U,
Yes, that's a good mic.
a very beginner microphone, but it works.
It,
So thank you so
it's got
much.
great sound. It's about $60. It's a
Hmm.
good mic. So
Yeah.
real
I was going to
good.
replace it, and someone I know in the Huddle community told me to continue to use it. So I listened.
Yeah.
I won't call any names, but you may be looking at them right now.
You told
Just
yourself
saying.
that? All right. Swiller says, find the time to make content is a challenge with more than a full-time job. Yes,
Oh
I
yeah,
can
I
relate
I
to
can
that.
relate. I have more than a full-time job, and that's why I'm very strategic in when I do anything. Like when I pick the time when I would do my live stream, I sandwiched it in a way that I could make it work. Um, there are times when I don't do certain types of work. I'm very committed to what I do when I do it. Now,
Yeah.
I also know that I'm a little strange and that I don't sleep a whole lot. So if I sleep naturally, if I fall asleep, I'm going to wake up at about 4.5 hours, no matter how tired I am. So I
Mm.
don't require a lot of sleep. And I never have. So I do things when probably other normal people are sleeping.
Uh, let's see. Steve Worthy in the house says, what's going on, Roy and Florence? Just catching your breath.
Hey, Steve.
So,
So
so
glad to see you.
I learned from Steve Pomodoro, and I went and bought a Pomodoro
Pomodoros.
cube
They they work.
so I could time box myself, because I have the
Mhm.
attention span of, well, I don't know what I have the attention span of. It's not good. Maybe a goldfish. Maybe worse.
Mhm.
Um, Interesting night. Florence Roy, I'll return to live cast again and again. Good info. Oh, well, thank you. That's
Well,
good.
thank
Again,
you.
that's the whole purpose of my channel, is to help in any way I can. And Florence's channel, if you want to get organized, you want to organize your thoughts, you want to get just day to day organized, you want like habits you should take on, definitely don't leave my channel now. But after the video, you need to go find Florence's channel, Equip Institute, and follow her, because she has amazing. She goes live every Friday night at 6:30 Eastern, which I have to do the math. You should never do math live, but that'd be 3:30 Pacific, and so you should definitely
Mhm.
watch her live streams on Friday nights. So, hey Robert, so cool to catch you on live. Hey everyone. That
Hey,
says I
Robert.
need to have a permanent space I have to set up every time I do a video and project. Yeah, that David, that kills you. That's friction. That creates friction, and so you don't go live or you don't record videos, because if you have to do that every time. And I totally can relate to that. For a long time, I was in the same situation, and finally I just adapted my work environment and my streaming environment to be essentially the same thing. And so work by day and streaming by night, and that's just the only thing I could do. I know though, for your use case with the equipment and everything you have, I know that's a challenge, and plus your day job and everything you do with that. So yeah, I can relate to that for sure. So let's see.
I would just say, especially if you have a challenge with having it set up, there's another creator who put her whole system on like a rolling cart. So
Mm,
she lives in a small space, and she expressed this. She put it on a rolling cart so that she could roll it. It essentially stays set up, but she could roll it out of the way, stick it in a closet or whatever, and just
Hmm.
roll the whole thing out and set it up in whatever space that she had. So that is one thing to give some thought to. If you can fashion a cart that rolls and put everything on that cart to be
Wow.
able to use that, that may be a good solution for you.
That's a great idea. I like that. Robert saying, sandwich. Yeah, I hear you. Always cool to have space all set to go and create, not to have to fret. Yeah, definitely agree. Team No Sleep. Hey, James Six in the house.
Yes.
Walter says, what is one life skill that live streaming helped you get better in doing now? So, did you want to go first on that one?
I will say the skill that it has helped me with is being clear about what I want my audience to gain from what I'm sharing, and having sufficient planning in place with everything, whether it's planning a meeting with 3 people, planning a webinar series, planning a live stream, everything is an event. So planning that event, I've used the skills from live streaming, and I'm simply, they're transferable. That's the
Yeah.
beauty, the thing that I did not expect. The skills in live streaming are transferable to every part of your life if you take it and use it that way.
Yeah. Uh, definitely agree with that. So, I mean, I teach part time, and so I'm used to being in front of a class. But I'll admit, even in front of a class, I get nervous, and sometimes my mouth will dry. I have to run off. But live streaming, it's crazy. It seems I've had an opportunity to talk in front of crowds that I haven't had before, and I was calm. I just went out there, and of course, I was prayed up when I did it, but that's a different story. Um, but
Right.
I was able to go in front of a crowd and talk, and that's not something I would have been comfortable doing before live streaming. So I would say definitely live streaming is a wonderful confidence booster to make you
Hmm.
comfortable to speak in front of others. So that's been a huge benefit for me to live streaming.
Yeah.
So let's see. Tina Wankanova says, I used to be like that, David, when I overthrew my living room and made a home from a craft space slash live stream area. There you go.
Okay.
Yep, yep. Yep, ready to hit that sub button for her channel. Yes, you definitely need to go hit that sub button on Florence's channel. Mama Mentality, Mr. James Hicks in the chat. If you guys are getting great value from this live stream, be sure to hit that like button. Yes, thank you, Walter. I do appreciate that. I've already followed Florence. That's awesome. Yay. Cool.
Well, thank you so
Yep.
much.
Yep. Hi, everyone. Coming in late. Sorry. No, Mama God. Lala, anytime is
Hey,
fine. But
Lala.
if you have time, I know you're busy, so you got to keep your empire going. So I don't want you to take away from your empire to just come visit me. Cool if you got room to maneuver a cart. I do like the cart idea. That's really cool. And Lala's saying hi to everyone. All right. Just out of curiosity, did you build in gear redundancy in place, i.e. extra mic camera connection for troubleshooting solutions? I haven't. Yes, I
I
have.
have.
Yeah. I do have a spare mic. I do have another camera. I have 3 more cameras, but they're all webcams. And I used to go live with just a webcam. So I have backup lights. Yeah, okay. If I had to, I can make it work. So you've already got backup equipment and
I've got
ready
a
accessibility?
I've got a backup um mic, I've got backup lights, I've got backup camera, I've got backup computers. If I had to, I can either hook up my iPad or my phone to be my camera. And I've got yeah, I've got backups. I've even got backup desk. And horror story. When I first started, like the third week of my live stream, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now.
Hmm.
And like 10, 15 minutes before I went live, I was not paying attention to what I did, tipped my curved monitor over on its face and tore it up. I had to grab a television and plug the HDMI cable in and make that be my monitor for the live stream. But we did
Wow.
it, and I didn't miss a night.
Yeah. I had a guest had similar issues. His computer just went insane, and he had a second computer, but he didn't have any software set up on it. So like we're 10 minutes before the live stream, and he's running around getting his computer set up. So the stream went fine. He just was unhappy because he couldn't do his cool overlays and stuff. But it was a great interview, and we had a great time. So let's see. Yes, Florence has a studio inside a studio in her studio. So. And back of a backup king side, truly better to be prepared or not. Yes. La la la. So, all right. So going back. All right. We'll finish up this. Okay. So promotion. So this is the part that I'm terrible at, but hopefully you all are better. But you got to share your content everywhere it makes sense. There's some places it doesn't make sense to share your content. So don't put the effort in. Send out to your email list. So if you don't have an email list, make one, because as they say, YouTube may not be there one day, and you won't be able to connect with your community if you don't have a mailing list. So I am working on getting a mailing list. I sort of have one, but I haven't published it, so I will do better. Funny enough, sharing on Reddit. So if you have Reddit threads that you are participating in, because you don't want to be somebody just drops your content in there without some context. But strangely, Reddit is really helping content creators grow their channels. It really shocked that. LinkedIn as well. I didn't put LinkedIn on here, but I've gotten a lot of views from LinkedIn. I'll post specific videos to LinkedIn that make sense to put out there, and it gets me a lot of views. I'm very happy with that. So how about you, Florence? Do you post to LinkedIn or other platforms like that?
I post on LinkedIn. I send to my email list. I have a few people who I even text to, because that's the way they receive information. I belong to an organization that uses Slack. I post in the Slack. We use what we call a virtual water cooler. So I post in the water cooler. I post on Twitter and LinkedIn. Haven't posted on Facebook because I really don't use it, even though I have an account and I have friends, I guess they're called, on Facebook, but I don't really use that. And there are some other places that you may have an opportunity. Some things to think about is if you're a part of like a Discord server, and the owner of the server has a space for you to promote your work there, use it. Don't skip those other places like that. In the YouTube community tab is one that we can all take more advantage of.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I always forget about Discord. I have a couple places on Discord I can host. I have my own Discord server, but I've yet to advertise it. One day I will. And then you can't fix what you don't measure. So what I'm alluding
True.
to here is the analytics. You can't fix what you don't measure. Check your stats. Pay attention to trends. Figure out what people are paying attention to on your videos. Look and see, if you see the hockey stick in your analytics to say people watch, and then all of a sudden they stop watching. Well, whatever you did then, don't do it, or whatever you didn't do it. So you just have to look at your analytics, and all platforms have analytics. If you do a brand account, you can get access to analytics on Instagram and other places, Twitter, to tell you what's going on with your channel and with your content. So, and then rinse and repeat. If it works, do it again. If it doesn't work, make corrections, review. So definitely look at what you did, figure out the mistakes you made. It's like the book Atomic Habits. Try to get 1% better every single time you do, create content, go live, post on Instagram, post on Twitter, whatever you're doing, whatever your platform of choice is, try to get 1% better. So
yeah, I call it plan, do, review. Plan, just keep that cycle going. Plan it, do it, review what you did, adjust, and just keep going through that cycle over and over and over again. And you can only get better. You can only get better. I learned as I started this journey that everybody starts ugly, and I surely am no exception. but I'm getting better each step of the way. And that learning journey is something that, if we're in this business of content creation, we are naturally lifelong learners, so we're not afraid of it. We embrace it.
All right. So now I want to show you Notion. Now, there are tons of planning tools out there, but this is how I use Notion. So I have, a content planner that I inherited from a friend, and I've made some modifications to it. But basically, I'll put dates on the calendar, and I'll say, hey, shooting, recording, it's gonna be a live stream, who my guest is. I'll send the link for them to connect live. I'll put my thumbnail there.
Hey, I know that one.
Yeah, that's the stream. Yeah, it's deja vu all over again. I'll put the YouTube link if I've scheduled it like I need to do. I'll put my keywords. So in this case, I use TubeBuddy to do a keyword search, and so I create my keywords, then my title, and then description. And so I try to do all this stuff ahead of time. A lot of people say you should never make a video until you make the thumbnail and description if you're a YouTuber, and there's a lot of truth to that, because that means you've really thought out what you're going to do. You may even go so crazy as to storyboard it. I mean, I've seen some people that do that. If you were going to do a really elaborate production, you might want to storyboard it to make sure you don't miss anything, especially if you're doing multi-camera, if you're trying to do a story and everything. So definitely storyboard might be a good thing to do, and there's lots of tools for that as well. So this is my process for planning out my streams ahead of time. I used to do it in Google Docs. I still do it some. I'll do my run of show in Google Docs because Florence and I collaborated. So a lot of the stuff you saw tonight, Florence helped me with, because she's really good at project management, and we kind of looked at content creation as managing a project. So that's kind of where I came from that point of view. And so Florence created a Google Doc, and we interacted back together and said, hey, I'm looking for this, and what do you think? And so just thank you for all that great content. So
You're
let's
welcome.
See what else everybody out here's up to. So Dagan, hey, thanks for stopping by, Captain. I'll be back later to watch replay. Team replay already. Absolutely agree. Always a work in progress. We learn every step of the way. So, yep, that is it. And so, Florence, tell everybody, I should have done this a long time ago, but tell everybody about your channel and the content that you produce.
So it is Equip Institute, and one day I will do a video on why that name. But it's really about elevating your personal and purposeful productivity. If you're doing anything, have a purpose for it. And then you can work on improving, elevating, just like we talked about tonight. And there are lots of people to help you. And I've learned not only from Roy and continue to learn from him, but from so many others who are even in this chat tonight. Whether you know it or not, I have studied and I continue to study your material. I'm just a walking learner. I'm more than willing to share what I know and what I do. I started working on productivity when I was very, very young. There's probably very few systems and approaches and methods that have come down that I haven't used, either tore them up and figured they didn't work, or figured out how to make them work for me. And I don't believe that a productivity is based on a tool. I believe it is based on your mindset and your approach to what you do. The tool simply helps you once you know where you want to go. So if you're interested, come on by Equip Institute and visit with me.
Yeah, definitely. Lala's saying hi to Walter and Fish to USA. And then Tina says, I dare anyone who live streams to watch the very first episode without cringing.
Oh, yes. It was terrible. Terrible.
Yep. Next week, I'm really excited. Walter Strong III is going to be on my show next week, and we're going to be talking about checklists. So We have talked about this before, but we are going to talk about a checklist to help make sure that when you go live strong, that you've got all your ducks in a row. And whether it's content creation or going live, and Walter and I are going to talk about that next week. And Walter Strong is another channel you need to follow if you're not. He goes live every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern, and he'll have next week to come tell you why you need to be watching his channel. So thank you to everybody. Florence, thank you so much for being on the show tonight, and thank you everybody out there that came by and said hi. Thank you so much to all the questions. Community, you guys are awesome. I was wondering, we should have a community name. You think we should call ourselves like the Troublemakers? You guys like that? I
I
don't know.
kind of like that name.
Yeah, you should,
I kind of like the troublemakers.
yeah, so.
Would you mind if I just shared one other thing?
No, please. Please.
I don't want to be remiss. On my channel in February, if you are interested, there are some fabulous people who are going to be sharing knowledge about being a business person, being a content creator, uh, being productive in both, and achieving your goals. I would encourage you to come by, because some of the folks who are in the chat tonight are going to be visiting with us, and I'm so excited to have them come through. And I would love to see you all come and hear from them, not from me, but hear from them, because they're going to be dropping some real gold on you.
I'm excited. I know those people, so yeah, I would definitely want to watch next month. So pretty exciting stuff. All right, that's it. That's our show tonight. Thank you so much, everybody. Yes, Lala says she likes the troublemakers. Yep, troublemaker community. I like it. So yes, thank you to all my troublemakers out there. And that's a wrap. Out of here. Bye. Bye. There'll be a video right here that you should click on. YouTube will pick it. It'll be fine. Watch that video next. Bye.